So what we're going to talk about is the role of memory in writing. This is so powerful. So memory, often we think memory is like a snapshot in time, but it isn't. It's living, it's evolving, and it's shaped by emotion and feeling and making meaning, and then experiences that come from it, and even from the very act of remembering. And what I think it does beautifully is it provides a map that we can explore with. So when we work with our memory, often what happens is we think we've forgotten quite a lot of stuff, and the truth is we haven't. And when we work with that memory, all those hidden things come up. So we'll discover layers and layers and layers of forgotten experiences. And I would invite you, in terms of writing, to trust the process. So what might happen is when you're working with your memory is that you will find different things coming up that are saying to you, you need to do something with this. And it will link to other stories and other experiences and other patterns about your life. So I posted this on Facebook 2 or 3 days ago, and it was about writing a book and how photos are a really powerful way to spark those memories. Now, I can't remember how old I am here, but I do remember, even though this is a black and white picture, I remember that this has got burgundy and British racing green stripes. I remember it's really good quality cotton. I think the jeans are peppy jeans. Can't quite remember, but I think they are, because what happened today was a guy called Jamie used to run, I used to live in South Wales, and I used to live in a place called Llantwit Major. So when I was growing up, see, this is memory coming forward. There was a guy called Jamie who ran like a boutique place, and he popped up and made a comment today to say, where did you get those jeans? And I thought, well, I got them from your shop. And then I thought, well, I wonder if I got the t-shirt too. And that opened up a completely new pathway for this memory, because I could see the shop. I could remember going in and really loving all the latest fashions he had and stuff like that. Well, latest fashions. I've always been a jeans girl. So for me, that picture, that photograph has helped my memory to evolve. But also, what I remember about this is I remember a boyfriend. I remember what you wanted to do with a thing of yogurt as I sat in his garden, but I will not spill the beans. So I remember that, but I also remember that he betrayed me. And I'm writing a book this summer, and one of the themes that I'm opening with is betrayal. And here is a girl who experienced betrayal, not just from a young age, but it's generational. So this picture does this. This picture also brings up sadness, because I used to work in the tax office in Cardiff. Not a very exciting career, but I worked in the tax office in Cardiff, and I went to join the photography club to learn how to take photos. And I met this wonderful guy called Gary, really into his cameras. He had something called a Hasselblad, and I ended up being the model, if you like, on the other side of all these people taking snaps of me. And what was very sad about Gary, at some point later on in his life, he isolated himself. Memory trigger for me. I tend to isolate myself. So I won't go on with what this brings up for me, but I would invite you, find a photo that is not triggering. So think about a chapter that you want to write, and I would suggest that you just intuitively choose something. So in front of me are a whole load of photographs. If you've got that sort of thing at home, then go and choose a photograph. But sit sit with the chapter first and then intuitively go and get a photo and sit with it. You might want to put your hands on it and close your eyes and allow yourself to go on a journey. That might be a feeling journey, a sensing journey, a knowing journey, depending on your senses. So wander, let your mind wander. Let yourself wonder and just follow what happens, and then look at, how do I take all of those things and put them into that chapter? Now, something you could do if you're doing this with your eyes closed, and I know it sounds strange if you're looking at a photo, but you like I said, if you start off doing that, record what you want to say into your mobile phone, and then you can start journaling. Because what will happen with your photos, and actually you might have a series of photos, if you've looked at them and you've come into your heart space, into your divine inner wisdom, and you want to talk, record it. So that's one way of working with memory. Now, if any of you are taking any of my courses, you will know that I have an exercise called timelines and turning points. And this is something that I often suggest right at the very beginning of a journey. And the way I do it is I get a roll of brown wrapping paper, because you can just keep doing that with it across the kitchen table. You can do post-it notes, you can scribble with pens. And I break everything down into blocks of 7 years. And the only reason I do that is I work with the chakras, and those blocks of 7 years mean something to me. You might want to do 10 years. You might want to break it down in some other way. And if we've got, so like if I've got those 7 years, there's a lot of things that I don't remember, but the stuff that my mum has told me. So when I was born, I didn't breathe. She had 48 hours of her waters broken. I didn't move. So all of those things I can put on that timeline. Then there's other stories that my mum has told me that very interesting. Like yesterday, she reminded me of when I ate the inside of a Lucky Bag and the toy stuck in my throat and I didn't breathe. There's 2 not breathing experiences. Do you know the worst thing for my mum? There was a woman she didn't like. And she's probably not around anymore, so I can say it. There's a woman she didn't like, and she had the longest fingers in the world, and she got the toy out. Yeah. So with the timelines and turning points, you can ask other people, you can do it from photographs, and you map out things that are going on. And you don't, I mean, you could do this all in one day, but I like to fold the paper up and come back and play with it. I like to stand back and go, what is that bringing up for me? But you can also look at turning points. So you can look at points in your life where you go, that has to go in my book. That is a turning point. I didn't remember it. So timelines and turning points for me, is absolutely fantastic. Whether you're journaling, writing a memoir, writing a nonfiction book, it is absolutely brilliant. And it's a do it, go away, do it, go away. Again, mobile phone, walk along the line, talk. And then what you could do is a mind map of what comes up. So this is how I work. I mean, AI tools are amazing, but they can't do this. They can't do that timelines and turning points. They can't talk into your mobile phone. You can get it to analyze things, which is something that you could do later. And the other thing you could do, that's like a kind of a short memory map, is if you've got a big sheet of A3 paper, you could draw a line and memory map something. So you look at your chapter and you think, if I pick betrayal that I talked about earlier, so you could write the word betrayal underneath, and you could just do a timeline, or you could mind map it, post-it note it, scribble. This is all about following your intuitive flow. So let's say if you've got a chapter outline and you haven't written anything yet and you're thinking, where do I start? Where do I start? do a memory map of some description. Yeah. But let what comes up follow those weird things, those tangents, those things, because they will lead to something. You know, often our logical brain kicks in and goes, no, that can't. Just honestly write it down, let it flow. You know, if you're an art journaler, then yeah, I know. If you're an art journaler, you can draw like little pictures and draw, you know, and bring them together. There's this, do you know, there is so much you can do with bringing those memory things up. So I'm going to say always trust what comes up because it's meant to come up. And here's the thing, right? It might not come up while you're scribbling. It might be that when you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning, you go, oh, Eureka, I just got to write this down. And it fits with what's going on. Or you might, like I the other day, I had the weirdest dream. And it did connect to stuff. But here's the other thing to do. Notice those patterns. When we're writing books and we're putting those chapters together, chapters typically have themes. And in those themes, there will be that emotional stuff that comes up. Notice what comes up. Do you know, I've been doing this for years and it never ceases to surprise me with the stuff that comes up. I'm like, oh, I've forgotten all about that. And then that emotional stuff comes and it's like, oh, I didn't really, you know, tap, 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 didn't really want to remember that. But one needs to because it helps to bring you into the emotion of the story. Welcome the unexpected. This is, for me, the curiosity and being open and welcoming in whatever's going to come in is really exciting. And the final point is be patient. One of the things I do that I don't think I said, so you know, got the photo, you got the memory map. Sometimes what I do when I'm in the middle of writing something, I'll sit and, you know, I might put a hand on my heart and a hand on my solar plexus, and I'll bring a memory up. And I'm very visual, so I'm feeling as I'm kinesthetic and I'm very visual. And if you're not, you can sense and know, you might get smell or taste. I bring up the picture of whatever it is that I'm exploring, and I look around the picture and I follow where it goes in my mind's eye. So if you're a knowing kind of person and you don't see a picture, where do you use that knowing? Ah, I know I'm going to this word. I know I'm going to that, whatever it might be. And if you're feeling, you might be, I'm feeling, you know, I'm feeling emotion. What's that emotion? And so what I do is I explore it behind my eyes, if that makes any sense. But it's really trusting that wisdom. And that's why I like to do these things when I've got a chapter outline and I'm sitting there going, and I'm musing. It's really, really powerful. Really, really powerful. Now, I've said, you know, I'm writing a memoir that I said I'd never write in the summer. So it's part memoir, part self-help. Said I'd never do it. I am going to do it. I have written hundreds of thousands of words of stories. So I've got stuff to go back and have a look at. And I know that what I'm going to do is I'm going to read stuff and I'm going to think, where does that take me? And how does that apply to this chapter that I'm going to write? So I'm not just going to pick it up and cut and paste it in because I've changed. So I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to see where it goes and flows. So trust, 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 trust. Also pay attention to I'm going to say the memories and the dreams that persist. If something keeps coming up, it's telling you that it wants to be remembered, and that will often carry a lot of significance. And when you pay attention to the things that keep, you know, nagging you, Tell those stories. Now, you might decide that you're going to tell the stories in your journal, and that's great. Or you might decide that what you want to do is tell those stories in your book. Now, I'm a big journaler. I I scribble everything in my journal first, and then I sit and turn it into something else. So just a couple of can't even get my teeth in, reflection prompts. What memory is constantly showing up for you right here, right now? Use those photos or the timeline map to play with it and free write. Get that journal out. There are no rules. You can mind map, you can scribble, you can write a word in the morning, you can journal it in the night, you can draw. Whatever you need to do to help you understand this, do it. Okay, so that is the end of our first part.